Well, I'd like to welcome candidate Jessica Gennaro to Spotlight on Chelsea with Leo Robinson. First, I'd like to say to the people out there, make sure that you wear your mask and that you wash your hands so that we can protect each other from spreading this virus around our community. So once again, welcome, Jess, to Spotlight on Chelsea. I know that you're a candidate for the state rep seat representing Chelsea, Revere, and Saugus. I'd like for you to tell us what is the state's responsibility to respond to communities like Chelsea that were hit hard by the pandemic.
Well, Leo, thank you so much for having me on today. I'm so happy to be here and out and about. It's really important. You know, our communities, Revere and Chelsea, have been hit very hard by the pandemic. And the biggest responsibility of the state right now is testing. We need to make sure that we're providing access and free testing. I know the city of Chelsea has been working on that. And last week and this week, the city of Revere is also offering drive-through testing at the high school site. So it's just really, really important that we continue to make sure our residents are tested, that if they come back positive, they're self-isolating and being responsible, and again, wearing our masks and washing our hands.
Great. What were your personal experience in dealing with the pandemic, shutdown of the economy, and now what we hope is the recovery? But I think we're a little ways from the recovery.
I don't see it in sight yet. It has been a very interesting year, to say the least. When I pulled papers back in February, I never thought I'd be running an election in a pandemic. So to see everything that's happened, to have to change and adapt your campaign strategies, that's probably been the biggest change. In my personal life, I've been working from home since March, so I'm happy to still have a job, but I can empathize with the people that are out of work, the people that are working from home and adapting, people whose children are home and they need childcare. It's an incredibly difficult and challenging time, but we're resilient people in this community and we adapt, and that's what we'll continue to do.
We adjust on the fly.
We do.
Well, in the middle of this pandemic, national news also focused on the deaths of George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, Ahmaud Arbery, and others. What should be the proper response be here in the Commonwealth to this national outrage over these deaths?
I think that it's incredibly important to just really take a look at what we're doing and to ensure that our communities have the proper resources in terms of human rights and civil rights. You know, I think that the city of Chelsea is very lucky to have Chief Brian Keyes, who is really wonderful and really forward-thinking. And I think because of leadership like that, you know, we're lucky in our community to have the situation that we do, but that's not the case in our country. And I think it's just really important to continue to educate and continue to make sure that people's civil rights are protected.
Good. There's some long-standing legislation that's at the State House deals with policing immigrants, such as the Family Mobility Act and the Safe Communities Act. Where would you be on these issues?
Well, in terms of the Family Mobility Act, I think it's so important to our communities because essentially people need to get to work. They need to take their kids to school. They need to get to doctor's appointments. And without the resource of a real ID or a proper driver's license, we're depriving people of that ability to get to work, to get to doctor's appointments, and to get to where they need to be. So I'm very much in support of that. In terms of the safe communities, you know, I think it's important to protect the privacy of people, to protect, you know, where they come from, what their religious beliefs are, and to continue to ensure that people feel safe.
Good. A person who takes transportation from time to time, what are the transportation challenges facing communities like Chelsea and Revere?
So it's clear that the MBTA has some issues, and we definitely need to continue to work to improve that. You know, the city of Revere has the Blue Line. The city of Chelsea definitely needs more attention from the MBTA. We know that is a huge issue. It's really important, too, to look at other things that affect traffic in our community. I've been really active on the Traffic Commission in the city of Revere, but we need to look at ride-share apps like Uber and Lyft and different navigational software like Waze. It's bringing traffic into our communities that otherwise wouldn't be here.
Yeah.
So it's definitely an issue. It's something we need to look at. I know on the city council we're examining it and we're looking for options. Also, since I've been on the council, we've worked on resident parking ordinances and ordinances for commercial vehicles, just to try to clean up our streets and try to alleviate traffic as best we can to help improve transportation.
Great. Back to the pandemic shutdown, cities and towns, as well as the legislature, had to resort to other methods of holding public meetings. What have we learned from this experience?
Well, I'll tell you, I've had the pleasure of serving as city council president twice, and I'm very happy that I didn't have to during this. Our city council president, Pat Keefe, has done a wonderful job in adapting. It was a challenge, and it was a challenge to ensure that our residents feel like they were heard, that we had some controversial things come up over the past few months, and it was really, really important to have the community's feedback and to make sure that they knew that even though they couldn't physically be present, that we saw them, we heard them, and we're representing them. So it was a challenge. I'm happy to say that we stayed safe, that we resumed meeting in City Hall last month, and slowly as things return to a new normal, hopefully we'll see the public be able to attend as well.
Great. A pet peeve of mine is the 2020 census. What impacts does responding to the census have on our communities?
The single most important thing you can do as a resident is respond to the census. It is an obligation that you have to your community and to the people around you. For every person that doesn't respond to the census, we lose thousands of dollars, and that's just completely unacceptable. And as much as I hope to represent the city of Chelsea, if over 50,000 people respond to the census, you would have your own additional representative. So that's kind of bittersweet, but it's really important because that money is your money to help with tax relief. It's the money for our schools. It's the money for infrastructure. And we can't provide the resources that our residents need without their help by responding to the census. So there are tons of resources out there, and I definitely recommend take a couple minutes and get it done.
Thanks. I'm going to combine the last two questions because they're pretty much the same. Why are you running for state representative, and how would Chelsea benefit from your experience in government?
So I'm running for state representative because it's always been a goal of mine. I have been on the city council now for over 8 years, and after having the opportunity to serve on the city council for this time, I'm ready to take the next big step. So when I found out that Rosalie would be retiring, I thought that it would be a great opportunity for me to continue some of the things that I've already been working on. As an elected official, it's something that I've been doing already. I've been making the difficult decisions. I've supported 8 budgets for the city of Revere, and when you serve, you see the impact that you have on your community. You make those difficult decisions, you take those difficult votes, and that's something that I've been doing and I want to continue to do. And I really would look forward to the opportunity to represent the communities of Saugus, Revere, and Chelsea, and just continue that fight.
Well, thank you, and thank you for being here today with me at Spotlight on Chelsea. Jess Janino, candidate for the state rep for Chelsea, Revere, and Saugus.
Thank you.
And once again, to the community, make sure you wear your mask and wash your hands. And remember, it's very important that you go out and support your candidates at this time. And it's a pretty tough time to be a candidate running for office. So make sure you support them so that they can do everything that we need to for them to bring back to our communities. And thank you. And Jess, once again, thank you for being here with me today.
Thank you so much, Leo. I appreciate your time. It's been great.
Thank you.